everybody. Stop wasting money on bad leads. The American cold callers who actually convert coming up here. Listen, every single day, real estate investors are burning thousands of dollars chasing dead leads. And it's not because the market is slow. It's because their lead gen is broken. So whether it's offshore callers who can't connect or in-house teams with absolutely no systems, bad leads kill the deals before they even start. So today, I'm bringing on Nicholas Nick. He runs the only all-American cold calling company built for real estate investors, and he's going to show you how to generate quality leads, built an in-house system that works and tracks KPIs like a real business, not a fucking hobby. So today, welcome to the Closers Club. Nicholas, my man.
Hey, what's up, David?
Thank you so much for being here. Listen, I see so many investors that, they think they have a lead problem when in reality, it's a system problem. Right. So what's the very first thing you look at when you're diagnosing, a new client and why their leads aren't turning into deals?
Oh my God. So I think this is one of my favorite things. So a lot of people don't know this, but one of the things that's unique to my service is that every Friday I send all of my clients their KPIs and a link to book a Zoom call with me.
Nice.
Okay? So I get a front row seat to this question all the time.
Yeah.
And a lot of people meet with me. And so the first thing, so I cover the stats and then I say, but this is only the numbers. I don't know how things went. So why don't you tell me, how did the calls go?
Right.
Okay, so first question when troubleshooting, how did the calls go? So anyone who has an acquisition manager or is even struggling themselves, that's the first question. And what you'll find more often than not is that the leads are not even getting called. So what people will do, and it's just human nature, okay? First of all, calling a lead is uncomfortable.
Yeah, sure, you get scared, you get nervous.
Yeah, exactly. And then have you ever tried to do something you don't want to do before?
Oh my God. Yeah. When I got my first couple of leads in, I was using an answering service. I was sending direct mail and I had a full-time job and I would literally sit there and I would print them out after work at 7 o'clock at night and I would just stare at them.
Right.
Trying to figure out which was the magic one. Who is the one? Oh, this guy, he's not going to want to sell this, self-selecting out.
That's exactly right. And the biggest problem people make is they don't have a process. So I have a rule in business. If we don't have a process, then we're being emotional.
Right.
Okay? Because, I'm in a good mood right now. I'm ready to call some leads. Let's go. I'm going to call them because I'm in a good mood. Well, it's like, no, you're going to call them because it's a part of your process.
Yeah.
Being in a good mood is just the added bonus. So the first thing people will do whenever they don't want to do something is they'll make excuses to not do it. Like it's like I've had customers call me all the time. Hey, you know what, Nick? I put your lead into the software and it said someone else owned it. So I didn't even call them. What?
Oh, no.
Like, what are you talking about? Oh, well, I looked up and they had a mortgage, so I didn't call it. Like people, and what that person's doing is they're looking for reasons not to call the lead. So my first rule is to combat. I have a couple of sayings. Hopefully I bust them out in order. But the first rule is every lead's worth 2 to 5 minutes of your time.
Sure.
Okay? And that's how we got to look at it. Like, hey, I'm not going to spend an hour on this phone. It's not like you're taking someone out for a date. You're not paying a $200 bar tab and you don't have to sit through anything you don't want to sit through. Okay.
Right.
So make the call and explore them. One of the rules I have in my real estate business is I call that first call imaginary tea time. So it's like, whenever you're sitting with your daughter, she's like making shit up. The stuffed animals are, talking and you're like, yeah, whatever, daughter, whatever, like we're having a great time. And I tell my acquisition managers to take that energy with the seller. Just have a great time. Just enjoy a playful, imaginary conversation.
I love that.
Because I think what happens is we take it too seriously and then we hang on little words and those little words will make us feel rejected early on. Yeah. And the reality is I just spoke to my acquisition manager this morning and I said, bro, we need to challenge their reality. I said, if your daughter came up to you and said, Daddy, the sky is pink, you wouldn't let that slide. Okay. Yeah. So when the seller says, I want $800,000, we have to ask them, not a problem. How'd you come up with that number?
Where'd you get that number?
Right. And what you want is and it's okay if they made it up, but you want them to admit they made it up. The only way to get someone's price lower is to get them to own that they don't know what they're talking about when they
Yeah.
give you a higher price, right?
Mhm.
So I challenge, I said, look, if you wouldn't let your kid run in the room and say something crazy, don't let the seller get away with it either. But don't be judgmental, be fun, be playful.
Mhm.
So first step, call the lead no matter what. Second step,
Absolutely.
do not let little words
Yeah.
get you off the phone.
Right. Yeah, and how often do you see that? Even it's, I know you're in a lot of Facebook groups like me, and people will post like, well, should I comp the deal before I get on the phone, and all this crazy stuff. And this is what I was talking about when I was sitting there looking at those pages. I guess I would try to predetermine who was going to be the right person to talk to. And the reality is, wherever the lead is coming from, whether it's through your site or PPC or a cold caller, people say crazy shit.
Right.
They just say wild stuff because
right.
one, they're probably tired of being asked because we're all marketing to the same people, right? There's no secret list. Or they just don't know what to say. So they just say something fucking crazy, right?
Right. That's
You
right.
know?
Well, and you know what it reminds me of is I've been talking about this a lot. There was a study done that if you cut somebody in line
Yeah.
and you give
Yeah.
the dumbest excuse, they
Yeah.
accept it 65% of the time.
Right. Right.
So if someone says something dumb to us and
Mhm.
we can playfully challenge
Yeah.
them and get them to admit, then it's like, I kind of feel like those statistics are the same,
Mhm.
and it's like, hey, well,
Yeah.
it's 800,000 and I made it up and it's still 800,000. Hey, not a problem. I'm out of here, right?
Yeah.
But if you, hey, yeah, well, I don't really know. And so the
Mhm.
other part is when you get them to own that they made it up.
Yeah.
We did this morning. We did a callback today on a lead from 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Hey, you told me 800K. How's that been working out for you?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Tell me, how's the journey coming? And so we can begin lowering it. So in short, it's definitely having a process. It's being optimistic,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's calling every lead and know yourself. So I'll give you an example. Do not comp the property if you're the kind of person to look at all this information and perceive it negatively. Do not comp the property if you're the kind of person that does it and goes, ugh, I'm not going to call them. But if you're the kind of person that can comp a property, not feel emotional, and then just take in the information, then I would comp it. But we need to know ourselves.
Right.
And anything that I do that's going to stop me from accomplishing my goal, I have to remove it.
Yeah. I definitely think, I mean, I don't do it because I would fall into that trap of,
right.
Geez, it's next to a water tower, right? Or whatever crazy bullshit that we tell. And, I had a story. I used to work in retail where I know you were in restaurants, but I was in retail hardware stores. And I had shared this office when I was an assistant manager in Vero Beach, Florida. And this old guy named Leo, he was like, I was in my early 20s. He was probably 65 and he was a corporate recruiter, and he'd sit there smoking cigarettes in the office and be like, when I was a kid, my boss told me if I ever put the fucking phone down, he was going to tape it to the side of my head. Never put the phone down. Just keep making the calls. And, that's just such good advice. You just got to make the calls. But I do love, and this is one of the things that, you have a very magnetic personality and you're always upbeat. I love talking to you, but how do you maintain that, right? What do you, when you're talking to your acquisitions people and your clients, like how do you keep them to have that upbeat, playful kind of attitude?
Yeah. That's a great question. What I tell people is we got to have fun.
Yeah.
Right. As soon as we take it too seriously, we are going to seriously hurt ourselves. So, so like one of our rules is the uglier the lead, the more fun you should have with it.
Right.
Okay. So if you think this is a total dead piece of shit lead, don't not call them and say some crazy off the wall shit and just see what happens. Right. Because if you weren't going to call them, that's nothing. But hey, you know what? Just like you say, is there a water tower nearby? Because I don't buy properties with water. It's like have fun with that lead, because to me, that's where the real knowledge comes in. So I'll just share one little story. When I cold called myself, so I was my first employee at Lead Mining, naturally. And I had a rule, and that was I was never going to say anything more than 5 times the same exact way. So, because cold calling is all about language and linguistics and how you use it. So I would say a phrase differently every 5 times, slightly, but I would change it. And then I would pay attention to what worked.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we need to do that with acquisitions. Well, how much? No, we don't.
Yeah.
We need to go in and innovate sometimes.
Right.
So for me, the more dead the lead, the more we need to innovate, have fun with it, right? So the way I promote the imaginary playtime is I try to take the stress off of my acquisition managers, and I encourage them to go out and literally make mistakes. I say the only mistake you can make is getting off the phone with the seller. You know, whatever you say that keeps you on the phone longer, even if you feel like you're failing in the right direction. So I kind of I implore them to enjoy failure and look at it differently rather than close deal, no close deal, contract, no contract. I say, I ask them to evaluate, was it a successful conversation or not?
Yeah. I think, even Jordan Belfort talks about that. One of his probably most famous videos is, it's a conversation, communication between two people. It's like, so it's 90% tonality, right? It's not the words, right? It's are you excited? Because if you're excited, I'm excited, and you'll be excited. Everybody's going to be excited. But if I do that, how much is the property? That kind of stuff. Well, nobody wants to do business with you. So I think I like that whether or not it was a successful call. I think that's a great way.
Yeah. And then one other little nugget I'll share is I also tell people, don't focus on how distressed they are. Focus on how easy they are to talk to. Okay. Because if they're easy to talk to, we're eventually going to get to talking about the right things. Right. And so I think we often are like, hey, no one has terminal cancer and is passing away in the next 3 months. This lead sucks. And it's like, well, no, it's like I have one of my favorite things that I say is my father had cancer for 8 months before he even told me. So why would a seller be extremely forthcoming right away? What we need to make sure we're doing is we have a good enough relationship with them in order for them to be forthcoming. So that's one thing I like. And my acquisition manager is very soft-spoken and he's very sweet. And it goes over really well because the other thing we do is we have the seller think that like the acquisition manager's on their side as well as the seller side trying to get us to give them more money. Is the other thing that we do.
Yeah. So how important do you, I mean, are you talking about like them building like a lot of rapport? Like how do your conversations go?
I really recommend, so first of all, I come from calling and texting. Okay. The number one thing I own it in my industry is a calling and texting lead needs elbow grease. Okay. You actually need superior systems on calling and texting than you do on direct mail. Direct mails are either, yes, I want to sell or go F yourself. Right. Cold calling leads are like, maybe all the way up to, yes, I want to sell. So I teach all of my clients and even my acquisition managers to lead. It's really not hippie, but to like lead with love. We need to do what we said we're going to do. We need to be prompt, be friendly. We need to remember that dealing with the seller is us executing customer service. Right? That's our form. And so I teach them to be very inquisitive, to have the playtime. And the first question for houses is this. So we call the lead. Hey, you just got off the phone with Sherry. That's our cold caller. Okay. To our clients, it's their partner, right? Hey, you just got the phone with my partner, Sherry, about 123 Sycamore Street. Is that right? Oh, yeah, sure did. Oh, great. Well, Sherry told me you might be interested in selling, but why don't you tell me, how did you plan on doing that? Right. So it's real. And that's actually a great line for realtor investors too, because they're either going to give you a retail answer or a distressed answer whenever you ask that question. So if you're a realtor investor, I just gave you a huge nugget that's going to increase your closings. But if you're just an investor, it's still great because it gets them talking, right? And you're going to see where their head's at. So then I really encourage my guy to not talk about money too much, right? Let's talk about what's going on. Let's talk about them. My acquisition manager is actually a documentarian, like literally. He makes documentaries. Okay. So this is why I picked him. I went out to lunch with him and he asked me such great questions. I was like, dude, like you just got me to open up like crazy to you because your questions are strong. So I made him an acquisition, true story. But so really be inquisitive, think about the seller. And then I like a 3-touch offer. So, and that includes the cold call. So the cold call is the first touch, the follow-up call, the rapport building call. How'd you plan on doing that call is the second touch. And then the third touch is when I like to make them the offer, is basically how it works.
I think that's great. I think we're in the trust economy now, right? People want to do business with people they know, like, and trust, right? That's it. So I do think that's very important for me, because I don't love the acquisitions. I like the dispo and the transaction side, but I would sort of just ease my way in there a little bit. I sort of defaulted to doing exactly what you're saying, right? Kind of asking them questions as I was walking through the house, or what's got you thinking about selling, or tell me about that picture of your grandson, playing the tuba. I'm like, my kid plays the tuba, right? Whatever it is.
We look for any topic to relate to.
Dude, I feel like I'm drowning in an ocean. I'm just looking for something that I can just fucking grab onto and make you want to like me. But the other thing is where you say, the hippie, leading with love. I've said that for years. Like, I think you have to actually care about people, right? Or be able to fake it. And maybe if you're a psychotic fucking axe murderer, you can fake that. But you genuinely have to care a little bit about people, especially on acquisitions. You have to have some empathy and care about them. Like, I bought properties from people, who are dying of cancer. Like, 1,500 properties. I feel like I bought every kind of deal.
Right.
People in jail, people getting divorced, like all of the different stories. But yeah, like we have to care about them and figure out how we can help them solve their problem.
That's right. And and we all have one. I encourage people all the time. I'm a multimillionaire. I got problems. I'll sell you properties. It has nothing to do with money and everything to do with stress, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like the other problem I think people make is they assume they know what a problem looks like.
Right.
That's probably a very powerful lesson, right? Like, you do not know what a problem looks like, right?
Right. Or we project our own shit onto other people.
Right. Oh, well,
this is what they're going to say,
Well, one of my old sayings is, what the worst thing about having money is you realize it's not the solution to all of your problems. Right.
There are days where I was happier fucking broke, eating the generic hot dogs at the grocery store.
That's right. So to that point, if someone if someone has finances as their own biggest problem and they're the acquisition manager, then they're projecting that, hey, millionaires, they're the ones who can afford to sell you their property for less, right? And B, they're the ones who will let it go due to stress, not finances.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I have 2 properties right now. I'll sell for 50 cents on the dollar. Okay. Try me. All right. And it's
bro. Yeah.
And it's like these tenants. One, I got evicted after 1.5 years of not paying. And it's like, and it's just because it's not the money. It's because I'm losing sleep over $300 a fucking month cash flow. Right. And why am I doing that? So I want to sell. So again, all of our reasons to sell are incredibly different. Right. So don't tell yourself, oh, well, there's nothing going on in their life. Bullshit. There's something going on in everyone's life.
Dude, everybody's got problems. I don't care who they are. And I've said this, forever, all these fucking guys on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and, it's all Rolexes and Lambos, bro. I know most of them, everybody's got fucking issues. People are having a hard time making payroll, whatever it is, right? We've all just got different issues. So figure out what that problem is. And then this is our talent, right? This is our superpower as investors. How can we come in and help them solve those problems?
And just real quick, and I heard one of my newer acquisition managers say this to me yesterday. He says, Nick, when they say no, that's when the work starts.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so brilliant, right? Because what happens is when they say no, that's when the average person gets off the phone.
Right.
No, hey, actually, we were on Easy Street until they said no. So now what are we going to do to turn that no into a yes? And I love that attitude.
Yeah, because their problem didn't go away because they said no.
Right.
We just haven't figured it out. We haven't figured out how we can help them.
I call it playing dead.
Yeah.
I seen this with a couple of microservice managers. They get a little bit of resistance, and I told them, and I try to be nice, but I go, you guys are rolling over and playing dead.
Yeah.
These sellers, they can say one thing to you, and you're like, okay, goodbye. Like, whoa,
that's an irritating. shitty, crappy cold callers. Like I think we were talking about before we jumped on, because I own all these properties, I get calls fucking nonstop. And some days I voicemail them, but other days I'm like, I'll play.
I'll take this one. Yeah.
I'm in the mood. And, I pick it up so many times and it's just like dead air. And then it just disconnects, right? People are just going through the motions. Yeah. It's a fucking sea of mediocrity out there, right? There's so many people doing just not even the bare minimum. So, to stand out in this business and be successful, just show the fuck up, right? Put in a little bit of effort. You don't have to be, I don't know even who you want to say on the phone, like some superstar. Right? Just care and give a shit and just show up and you'll get better.
I used to when I ran restaurants forever, whenever I would hire someone, I would say the same thing to all of them. And I would say, it's very easy to shine around here.
Yeah.
And it's like,
man, have fun.
Yeah, right. And it's like, to your point, like, hey, like if you just be consistent, you're going to be the top 5%.
Yeah.
Period, right. And it's like, that's all you have to do. And I said that for two reasons. One, it's funny. Two, I love taking the stress off of other people, how hard they think they have to show up. It's like, what I've learned is the more under the gun someone is, the worse it is. So the first thing I try to do is empty that gun's clips. Like, I do not, whatever's pressuring you, which is what I mentioned earlier with the acquisition, like, have fun with it. Like, have a great conversation. Cause if you're like, I got to get a closed deal after 5, no, and it's only 5, but after 5, you're like, I'm a total failure, because no, you're not a failure. You're not a failure at all. We're doing the damn thing. So it's like, and I do that for myself. Maybe I do that because I myself am sensitive, right? To failure. I fucking hate failure and rejection.
Yeah, dude, I get it. And I think that's great advice for life in general too, not just cold calling. Because we whatever it is with society now, we're all so fucking wound up and worried about failure and rejection and all of those things. We just got to have a little bit more fun.
I know. I could actually take some of that advice myself.
I mean, the people who talk about it the most are the people who
need it, right?
The people who are the funniest are the people who are the saddest inside.
Exactly.
All right. I've kept you for a long time. I appreciate that. But listen, I do have one final question for you. You guys are amazing lead mining pros. Absolutely the top shelf in the industry, not only cold callers, but also texting. It's literally, generating leads. But as an investor, right? Why should I trust your callers with my leads instead of just doing it myself or hiring the cheap VA from the Philippines, or I don't even know where else cheap VAs are at now.
Yeah. Well, and boy, I could do a whole podcast based off of that question, and I probably should when we hang up. But I'll try to keep it short. I'd say that there's probably 3 glaring reasons that I can think of why you'd rather outsource it to us. Not just outsource it, but to us. Okay. Yep. The first reason is do it yourself is a nightmare and way more expensive than you think it is. I did the math the other day, and the overhead on a full-time cold caller, not including data or the cold caller working, is $300 a month. Between a dialer, the amount of phone numbers you have to purchase, all like those little things, the employee tracking software, the payroll system, you're spending $300 a month per employee, and they haven't even done anything yet. So that's number one. Number two is A, figuring out what they're supposed to be doing, and then B, the real part, holding them accountable to what they're supposed to be doing. I can tell you that not only are they going to be more expensive, but you're going to pull your hair out. So those are the 2 main glaring things. The third reason is us specifically, the way that we approach lead gen. A couple things. One, my cell phone number is on my website. Okay? And I help every customer pick out their market. In 2025, what my rule is, your market is you choosing your difficulty. Okay. So if you're like, hey, Nick, I'm in Miami. Great. That's a difficult one. That, right? Like we just got to be, I'm in Phoenix. So, that's one of the hottest markets in America, right? Like, and so I guide them to some of the best markets in their area for free. That's number one. Number two is our team is professionally trained, and we have rebuttals built in for wrong numbers. And whenever they decline us, we have proven rebuttals that get leads like at a very high rate. And I manage all that. So with us, the other big benefit is, you get a lot of people say, Nick, what do I need? Tell me, what software do I need when I hire you? I say, you need to call the fucking leads.
You need a phone.
Yeah. you need to likely stay organized with the leads. If we get you a lot, you're going to need to be organized, but you're going to need to call all of the leads with an amazing attitude. So that's it. I say you need to pay us and you need to call the leads, and that is it. And so we take out so much headache. In between those two. We're also no contracts, no commitments. And I meet with all of our clients weekly on one-on-one Zoom calls to help optimize their campaign or give them coaching. So I try to remind people, like, we're not lead gen. We're like an experience. You know, you're going to walk away picking a better market, working leads with better systems, and you're going to have me analyzing your campaign's performance at the end of it and helping you troubleshoot it too. So like if things aren't great, we can make changes to the services and the market mid-campaign.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. You know, direct mail, as soon as you check out online, you can't make a change. With us, we can be halfway through your campaign and make a pivot at very often no cost to you at all. So it's very, very cool for those reasons.
Well, and I think that's just a testament to, you know, companies like ours where we're just so committed to making sure that our clients are successful, because obviously, one, we want you to be successful, but if you're successful, we're successful, right? Like it's a very symbiotic thing, right? We are, I feel like there are days I am more invested in my customer success than they are sometimes, right?
I say this to them and feel free to say, I can tell you, other than you, nobody wants you to be more successful than me. Okay.
Right.
And it's true. And it's because I don't have contracts commitments. You don't have contracts and commit, which means that our whole model is based off of their continued success. Right. And that's why people go, Nick, how do you provide so much customer service? Number one, it's made me a shitload of money over the last 8 years. And I'm not disrespecting that one bit. So the more money I make, the more service I provide my customers. That's easy. Number one. Number two is, like you said, our success is completely linked. Even if it's not my fault and you don't close deals, you're still going to think less of me. So what I need to do, no matter what, is provide such a stellar service that you feel like you won every time.
Right. I tell you, that's something we went through the same thing. You know, when we started our business, let's kind of end with this. Like, we thought being the best transaction fucking coordinating company in the world is going to be enough. And it's just not. I realized that I need to set them up with the best cold callers, and I need to bring them in, you know, the very best in the industry so that they can, you know, succeed in all levels, because it's not just one thing. So
That's right.
My friend, thank you so much. So excited. We're going to talk and do some more and partner. And we got some exciting things coming up. Guys, if you enjoyed this, do the thing, do the like, the follow, the click, the bookmark, do whatever it is. Make sure that you are following us here on the Closers Club. Nicholas, my friend, thank you so much. I do appreciate you.